Krishna in 3 stages. He says there's the offensive stage, the clearing stage, and then the pure stage. Simplifies it. So in the clearing stage, he says, one is chanting and trying to avoid the 10 offenses, and is also vigilant about finishing one's rounds. It just means one's sincerely trying to avoid offenses. It may not mean that one's completely unoffensive, because Prabhupada said there may be the force of past habits, and therefore it's not completely pure. Therefore it's called the clearing stage, based on one's sincerity to avoid committing offenses. That includes being attentive while chanting, even though one may occasionally fail in that and fall asleep or something like that. At least one's trying. And then in the offensive stage, one's not really trying. It's an unconscious effort. That is, one's chanting but gets distracted, allows oneself to wander, and sometimes doesn't finish the rounds. If one goes on in the clearing stage, then it's inevitable that one will come to the pure stage. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions this in the Harinam Chintamani, when he says that there's 2 types of namabhasa. Namabhasa means when the light of the holy name is coming through before one actually sees the form of Krishna in the name, as in the instruction that Narada gives to Vyasadeva when he says, Iti murtya bidhanena mantra murtim amurtikam yajite yagya purusham sasam yag darshanam puma. That is, that one can see the complete form of Krishna when chanting the holy name. So there's a way in which Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes namabhasa. It comes, according to the Bhagavatam, when one accidentally chants the holy name, when one chants it for musical entertainment, when one says the holy name derisively, as in, you Hare Krishna people should get out of here. And if one chants like that, because of a combination of syllables, one says Ramada in, someone says Krishna copy. These are ways of namabhasa mentioned in the Bhagavatam, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur calls these low-level namabhas. He said, but high-level namabhas means that one's chanting Hare Krishna, and although one's not pure, one's sincerely trying, similar to what Prabhupada said. It's the same point. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur continues by saying, if one is chanting in high-level namabhas, which means although one's still, there's some remnants of offenses, one's sincerely trying, then he makes this bold statement that one will definitely come to the pure stage and achieve the pure name of Krishna. So, what's the key element, do you think, that distinguishes offensive chanting from clearing stage, which leads to pure? If you were to put it in one word. Yes, Prabhu? Sincerity. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's ironclad. Sincerity is ironclad. If you're really trying, even though you're not there yet, you're in the clearing stage and you'll definitely come to the perfect stage. It's such an encouraging aspect of devotional service that if you're trying and you're sincere, Krishna will help you in all ways and you'll attain the goal. Any other reflections on what I just said? Yeah, it was really interesting by Vaiśeṣika Dāsa. Yes, Bali Prabhu.
I think it is so wonderful to chant with the devotees, because I was thinking in different Puranas, like Vishnu Dharma Puran, it talks about that Kirtanada Devasya Vishnur Amita Tejasa Yaksha Rakshasa Vetala Pita Bhuta Vinayaka Pisacha Dakino Yasmareta Ahimsaka. All the things, Sarva Anartha Haram Tasyam Kirtanadam Harer Smritam. That means it says that even though this Kirtan of Deva Devasya Vishnu means unlimited effulgence, this Vishnu's holy name, somebody is not chanting. He is saying that I wanted to go to the Japa retreat, this Japa session today, just thinking, but he did not come. Still that person is relieved from the influence of Bhuta, Pishaja, Betala, Dakina, and all the hinsik, envious person. So we should be confident that whoever you hear, you are much more glorious than the people. Just imagine it is glorifying the people who have not come. So that is the beauty of the chanting.
That's a good one. Thank you. Somebody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So we were reading from Japa book just before you came after Mangalarti. So we read this section today titled Sincerity. So in that His Grace Purijan Prabhu was recollecting that one Srila Prabhupada disciple asked him, what about these philosophers, Nidzi, Fred and Nidzi, and Prabhupada said their sincerity is their God consciousness. So he was emphasizing on sincerity, that even if a devotee has this sense gratification, desires for sense gratification from 11th canto, he should still continue chanting, and he will come. Because of his sincerity, he will be free.
Wow, this is all very encouraging. Okay, we'll give it a try. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna. I just want to continue the thought process. If you weren't here earlier, I mentioned that Prabhupada had categorized the 3 stages of chanting in both the preface to the TLC and in the Nectar of Devotion. And he mentions them as the offensive stage, the clearing stage, and the pure stage of chanting. Makes it simple. And then we had discussed how if one is sincerely trying in the process of chanting, this is considered to be clearing. And that Bhaktivinoda Thakur said in the Harinam Chintamani, this is called high-level namabhas. And he guarantees that if someone is sincerely trying to chant purely, even if he or she isn't able to at the time because of past momentum, from past bad habits, there's a way in which that person will become successful, because Krishna helps in every way. This idea is also in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Api chet sudaracharo bhajate mam ananyapak sadureva samantavya samyag vyavasito hisaha. And that is, Krishna's evaluating the sincerity of a person, even if he says, literally, that person is sudarachara, has worldly character, but his or her intention is pure and is going on with the process. Then he said that person is to be considered saintly. So in the next verse, Shri Prambhavati Dharmatma Shashvash Chantim Negachati Kontiya Pratijanihi Nami Bhakta Pranashyati. Krishna makes this bold statement, or he asked Arjuna to make it, which is that my devotee will never be vanquished, he'll be successful. And he says, Shri Prambhavati Dharmatma, very quickly the person will become perfect. So Prabhupada asked the question, how can somebody who's a pure devotee be making mistakes and offenses? And he says, either by intention or by accident. And the conclusion Prabhupada comes to, which is the conclusion Krishna's making, is that even if somebody is in a worldly state, if the person goes on with the process, then very quickly that person will become purified. And Prabhupada says in his purport to Shri Prambhavati Dharmatma, which is number 31, I believe, 931, he says that the remedy is that one should go on chanting without stoppage. So the conclusion is that, again, that one has to continue chanting even if one's not perfect in it. And the proof of one's sincerity is that one continues despite obstacles created by one's own mind. In Japanese, there's a phrase, there are a lot of words in Japanese borrowed from other languages, and one of them that's very popular in Japan is gam-an. It's from German, and it really means, despite any obstacle, keep going. So Krishna is basically saying that the way to get from the offensive stage, the clearing stage to the pure stage is to gam-an. Keep going, don't stop. And Prabhupada says, chant without stoppage. So that's a topic. Any reflection? Gaman? Yes.
Hare Krishna. I was reminded of the verse from the Nectar of Instruction in the 7th verse, where it talks about how in the beginning we may not be able to taste the holy names, but slowly by continuously chanting we can taste the nectar of the holy names. So that means we must try to have sincerity and continue despite any impediments that may be on the path.
Could you please quote the verse?
Syat Krishna nama charitadi sitapya vidya Pito patata-rasanasya rarochikanu Kintvadarat anutilam kaluseva jushta Swadvikramat bhavati tat kadamula hantri.
Well done and nice application. Anybody else? Yes.
The first thing I reflected on when you said this, Guru Maharaj, was gum on, sounds like come on. And it's like a war cry, like keep going.
Yeah, it's kind of a war cry.
And it just reminded me of something else you say about japa, which is like when everything else fails, and it will, just keep chanting Hare Krishna.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, today, obviously, we have a slightly different arrangement for darshan. Deities will come out in a few minutes and be right there with us. And so I think it's, maybe you have one more comment and then we'll break. Yes.
So today morning when we were coming in the car, I saw like other cars were going, and suddenly in my mind, from nowhere, there was a thought, I want to have that Tesla. I don't know, it just came to my mind. And I was I was surprised. I even laughed at myself. Why, suddenly this thought came, and I got a bit discouraged, that after so many years, what kind of thoughts I'm having. But after coming and, listening to all this, I'm so encouraged that, at least whether, I'm doing it correctly or not, but at least I'm giving it a priority to, make it my first priority at Saturday morning, and seeing other devotees doing the same, it's so encouraging. So that's all I wanted to comment.
That's part of the spirit of Gaman, is despite everything, keep going. And also invent ways to keep going. That is, find ways to scratch, claw, pull yourself into association where you're going to be able to keep going. And you also have to be able to tolerate your own shortcomings. That's a big part of it, because there's a way that I can become discouraged by my own shortcomings and think that I won't do anything because I'm useless. But Krishna says, don't do that. Keep going. It's time for one more. Sharing means caring. Yes, okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, thank you. I was thinking about the process. I was like the week. I was thinking that there are so many great saints who are fully absorbed, but generally from India, but they don't give the process, or like they say generally. We have like 7 days, saptah and everything. So they say generally, but they don't give the process or specifics, like chant 16 rounds. So thank you for giving this chant 16 rounds, because people like my family background, they hear so many, but they don't have that specifics. They don't, it is general and people don't follow, but when we got this specific, we are able to follow that, yeah, chant 16 rounds, this is our goal. So thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah, that's Prabhupada's mercy. That he accepted through disciplic succession the principle of Sankhya Purvaka, which means stick to a certain number of rounds. And as the Acharya, he adjusted it to 16 and then insisted upon it. There have been other Gaudiyas who said, well, it's not a big deal. Do whatever you can. Of course, in the beginning you do whatever you can, but once you come to a level, you have to stick to it without any deviation. And that's part of the principle that comes from the Acharya, as you pointed out. And that's one of the points made in the Srimad Bhagavatam by the demigods praying the Lord Krishna within the womb, where they say, Swayambhujaksha Mahatkritena, is that the Mahats, the great souls, the Acharyas, they make a process so that everybody else can follow it. And if we follow the process, it's a boat that takes us across the ocean of material existence. And if you just attempt to follow it, that's your full intention, and then the ocean shrinks to the size of the hoofprint of a calf. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Panchatattva, Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please let us every day chant great japa for your pleasure. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone who agrees with this prayer in whole or in part, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.